All right, me and you need to talk. This podcast episode is going to be the most important recording I've ever made. Especially in today's society, no matter what age you are, we are bombarded with social media, constant dopamine, pornography, Netflix, shitty foods, just everything in our face at all times. So I created a guide, a 4-step guide. This is what I do every single quarter. This is how to do a proper dopamine detox. Everywhere else online, you hear just general information on how to do dopamine detoxes, go 90 days without this, and you've done a detox. But the truth is, these people don't understand how dopamine actually works. And they're just giving you regurgitated information on how to do a dopamine detox. And I've tried it, okay? At a time in my life where I was depressed, I was constantly addicted to social media, I was watching Netflix for hours on end, smoking weed every single night, freaking drinking, jerking off, doing everything under the sun that was bad for me. I fucking tried it. And this is what actually works. This is what I actually give to my clients. So do not take this information lightly. I'm going to go through every single step and the micro steps behind them. This is a complete guide on what to do. I'm also going to pop some links down below that's going to help you alongside with this. If you do this, if you make the intention and commitment to actually complete these 4 steps, you will completely reset your dopamine. Okay, starting off with number 1, we need to do a cleanse. We need to do a detox, like a true detox. The same thing that you'll get with drug addicts who'll do a detox and they'll just kind of detox them in the room and they absolutely hate their lives and they just want to get rid of the drugs out of their system. This is very similar. So for 24 to 72 hours, all right, if you're new, you might want to start with just 24 hours. After you do this a couple times and you get a handle on things, you can do 48 hours and 72 hours and so on and so forth. If you want to go more than 72 hours, do so, but understand there's some complications with that. I wouldn't pass after 72 hours. So for 24 to 72 hours, you're going to fast from all things. We're not just talking social media. We're not just talking porn. We're talking all forms of dopamine, social, porn, sex, talking to friends, having conversations, texting. Your phone completely should be away. Netflix, TV, even going on a simple walk. The only thing you're going to do for 24 hours is you're going to sit, you're going to meditate, and drink water. Those are the only 3 things that you are allowed to do. These 24 hours are going to feel like hell. Now, mind you, you're sleeping 8 of those or 9 of those. So really, you got like 16 hours in the day that you're awake doing this. So it's not even that much of a crazy amount of time. But for 24 to 72 hours, you're going to do nothing but sit, meditate, drink water. Why do we want to do this? We want to give a shock to the system. And when you do this and you completely detox, you're going to have, by the way, during this time, you're also not allowed to eat food. So it's a fast from all things that provide any momentary pleasure of dopamine, of serotonin, like complete detox. And this 24 hours is really difficult. You're going to have a lot of thoughts and emotions come up. If you need to, you can journal them. You can sit down, open up a journal and start writing things out. And during these 24, 48, 72 hours, you're going to gain a crap ton of clarity. More clarity than you've probably ever had in your entire adult life. The problem with this is you can have a snapback effect. So after the 24 hours is complete, a lot of people just go all in and they start eating like crap and they start watching Netflix and they watch porn and all of these things happen. We don't want this to happen. So we need a refresher. We need a refresher of healthy dopamine coming in after we've removed all sense of dopamine and serotonin for 24 hours. And the easiest way to get fast dopamine is actually to talk about your goals. They've done a couple of studies on this where whenever you talk about your goals, it's actually not good for you, quote unquote, because you're getting that same amount of dopamine just about talking about it. But we're going to use this to our advantage. So we move on to the second step, and this is what I call the walk of pain. Here's how the walk of pain works. After the 24 hours is done, you're going to get a backpack and some water and a journal. You're going to put it all in there. You're going to go to the nearest hiking spot. You're going to take your journal out of the bag. You're going to take your water out of the bag. And you're going to fill up your bag with a bunch of rocks. And you want to make sure that your bag is very, very heavy. Each rock is going to be symbolic, okay, to all of the lies that you've been telling yourself over the past month, week, day, 3 months, year, or years. All the lies that you know you're telling yourself, that you know you're rationalizing about, but you're still allowing it to hold you back in life. So you're going to sit down, you're going to write down all of the lies on the journal, and you're going to put a bunch of massive rocks that go with those lies. I would suggest to keep it down to maybe 3 lies, 4 lies, four, 5 big ones, 5 of them max. But you're going to write all of them down in a journal, and then you're going to pop it in your bag. Why do we want to do this? You're going to walk. You're going to hike with it for 30 minutes. Mind you, you're still fasted. You still don't have access to anything. You still haven't ate food. You're still fasted. You're going to walk for 30 minutes. And during that 30 minutes, you're going to be thinking of all of the consequences that these lies have brought to your life. Now, you've had 24, 48, 72 hours where you now have more clarity, okay, more clarity of what these things may be and how you've been holding yourself back and the emotions that came up and the thoughts that came up. So it's already stewing in your brain. But after that, you're going to write down the lies and you're going to walk for 30 minutes. And during this walk, during this 30 minutes, you're just thinking, how have these lies held me back in my life? Then after 30 minutes, you stop, you pull out your journal, you start writing down all of the consequences, how this has held you back, how this has pained you, how this has pained others, what you've lost in terms of time, resources, money, effort, everything. Then we're going to do another 30 minutes. You're going to keep walking. And during this 30 minutes, you're going to start to think about what you no longer want or what you no longer will tolerate. Okay? Really think about this deeply. And again, the reason why we're doing the second step, because it's going to set you up for the remainder of just not the dopamine detox, but also life. But you're also getting little hits of dopamine while you're thinking about these things and getting clarity. Okay? So we're doing a refresher of the dopamine. And you're going to start to think about what you no longer want. And then you sit down, same thing. You write it all down. What I no longer want, what I will no longer tolerate. Then we're going to do another 30 minutes. Okay? And in this 30 minutes, you're going to start to think about what you do want. Okay? What you do want out of life. And write down all areas. Finances, just think about your finances. Think about your relationships. Think about your body and your health. Think about personal life, who you want to become, what you want to accomplish, what you want to experience. Okay? Write all of this down. And again, after the 30 minutes, or think about this, and after the 30 minutes, you sit down again, and you start just writing down a bunch of stuff. Don't be filtered. During this time, you do not want to be filtered. Just fucking write it all out. Put it all out onto paper. Then, last step is we're going to walk upwards. Now, I'm lucky because I actually have a hiking spot that's near me that it's called 1,000 steps, so it actually goes up, and I could do this last 10, 15, 20 minutes just walking upwards. And again, during this walk up, it's going to be extremely painful. This is why we call it the walk of pain. You've already walked for an hour and a half. You're already fucking tired with all of that weight on your back. And then you have to walk upwards, walk up a hill. This is extremely painful. And during this time, think about how you're going to finally let all of this baggage, all of this pain completely go. Once you get to the top of the hill, with every piece of rock, you throw it, do whatever you want with it, okay? Throw it down on the ground, say, I'm not going to let this hold me back. Throw it across the hill, make sure there's no people there. Or just drop it out of the bag. And you're going to feel this insane feeling of having a weight lifted off of your shoulder, literally physically, but also spiritually. And this provides you with a sense of dopamine that you probably haven't gotten in a very, very long time. That's healthy, and it's going to be very refreshing. You're going to feel like you have just entered a new stage, almost like a rebirth. Then you go home, and this is where we get to the goals. You're going to write down your values, what you value in your life. You're going to write down your vision, your life vision. You're going to write down your standards that you need to live by in order to get to that vision. Okay, values, what you value. Based off of your values, how do you want your life to look like? Based off of how you want your life to look like, what will you have to live up to? Based off what you will have to live up to, what boundaries do you have to set? Okay, what do you have to not do or allow other people to do to you? And then last but not least, what are your goals? What are your intentions? And we're going to do 90 days. You're going to chunk that down to 30 days. You're going to chunk that down into 14-day steps, and then 7 days, what you're going to do for the next 7 days specifically. So for the next 7 days, I'm doing this. Next 14 days, I'm doing this. Next 30 days, I'm doing this in order to get to this 90-day goal. And this is why it must be done quarterly. It's a reset of not only your dopamine system, but also your goals every single quarter. Now, if you don't want to do this quarterly, you can do it bi-yearly. You can do it yearly, whatever works for you. Step 3, okay? You've completely detoxed from shitty, insane amounts of dopamine from stuff that's cheap dopamine. You've given yourself a boost of refreshing dopamine. Now we go into the third step, which is weaning off the drug. I'm going to call this the drug. So 7 days, no social media. Okay, this is what we tend, especially in today's day and age, we get a lot of crappy dopamine from. So 7 days, no social media. And this is what I call the 3 R's. R number 1, you're going to remove all social media or tech, meaning no Netflix, no Instagram, no Snapchat, no YouTube, no Twitter, no Pinterest, no whatever other TikTok, no Facebook, okay? Every social media platform, no news, okay, no TV, no social media, no Netflix. You're going to remove all of them, and you make an intention for 7 days to not view any social media. Now, how do we do this? Number 2 is we need to replace. This is the second R, replace. I'm going to leave a link down below. Okay, this is to a Facebook group that we have, and in that Facebook group, there's actually a link to a Google Doc that I specifically have for a lot of my clients. We call it the dopamine checklist or the feel-good checklist, and it's going to give you a bunch of ideas of what you can replace in those 7 days. Every day, you need to replace social media with something different. Okay, so don't do the same thing every day for 7 days. You're going to do a different thing every day for 7 days. Okay, so you're getting variety. You're getting new dopamine, but in a healthy manner. So one day you might go on a 2-hour hike. The next day you might go to a painting class. The next day you might play an instrument, okay, or start to learn an instrument for 2 hours. The next day you might want to learn a little bit of a new language. The next day you might just play chess all day. Whatever it is, you're going to replace social media with that behavior. Meaning that it's not like you just do it once, but all of the times that you find yourself bored where you want to replace it with cheap dopamine behaviors, you're going to just do that behavior. So if it's a walk, just go walk. 15 minutes, come back. If you're bored again, walk again. If you're bored again, walk again. And that's for day 1. Day 2, it might be playing an instrument. You're bored, play an instrument. You're bored, play an instrument. You're bored, play an instrument. You're going to do that for 7 days straight. Last R is report. Okay, so remove, replace, report. You need to have a reporting accountability or social accountability system in order to actually make sure you follow up with this. So whether this is on to a friend that you message every day or call every day, whether this is to an accountability group, this is why within our program. We have a whole accountability section that people go into our Discord and they can actually post their accountability reports. But whatever it is, you could call a friend, you could call a family member, you could text a friend, you could text a family member. Whatever you're going to do, you need to be held accountable and you need to actually report back every single day. Did I do my no social media detox? Did I do my feel good activity? And how was today in general? How did today feel? Okay. So remove, replace, report. This is for 7 days. You're getting rid of that dopamine. Step number 4. All right. Moving forward, you need a daily dopamine menu. Why is this important? Because we want to view dopamine in a healthy manner. Dopamine is seen almost as a enemy on social media, and a lot of these gurus and influencers are talking about do a dopamine detox, get rid of dopamine. You fucking need dopamine to live, okay? Let's not forget this. You need dopamine to be alive. Dopamine is extremely important, and there's multiple dopamine receptors. You have D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6, so on and so forth. And each different dopamine is for a different purpose. So you have dopamine that's for motivation and influence. You have dopamine that's for getting your heart to beat, okay, and getting your bodily functions to function normally. So you need dopamine. It's not that we want to get rid of dopamine. You need it. It just needs to have a healthy amount in your system for you to feel fulfilled and for you to feel motivated to actually do shit in your life. So we want to view dopamine from a healthy manner. We want to enjoy life without feeling guilt, because the problem is that people do things and they have too much of it and then they feel guilty and shame. And that guilt and shame actually releases endorphins. Why does it release endorphins? Because guilt and shame feels bad. And your body, whenever it feels bad or has pain, it wants to reduce the pain. So it releases endorphins. And endorphins is like our body's natural opiate. So it feels really crappy to constantly just shame and guilt yourself. And then you become addicted to the endorphin rush. So this is why people become addicted to running, because running, after you do a bunch of running, you get an endorphin rush. Because your body thinks it's in pain, and this is why people become addicted to the running process. So you're doing the same thing, but you're becoming addicted to making yourself feel guilty and shameful. So we don't want that to happen. So we need to shift our perspective, our mindset around dopamine, and allow ourselves to not overindulge and make conscious choices of what dopamine choices we choose. Okay, hence why the dopamine menu. Here's how it works. Similar to going to a restaurant, right? You have different kinds of menus. You have the drinks, you have the appetizers, you have the mains, and then you have the desserts. Desserts are like the cheap dopamine that you get. Okay, this is your Netflix shows and movies. This is smoking weed. This is having a drink or two, right? Whatever you want to. It just provides you momentary pleasure. It doesn't necessarily make you feel good, and it especially doesn't make you feel good when you overindulge in it. So we create our list of desserts. Smoking weed, watching Netflix, eating ice cream, indulgence. Then you have your mains. Your mains are the things that take longer than 30 minutes to do. Okay, longer than 30 minutes to do. So this is like working out. This is like doing a deep work hour. This is like playing chess, okay? Learning a new language, learning a new instrument, hanging out with friends, socializing with friends. All of these things take longer than 30 minutes usually, and they provide you with a very deep sense of dopamine, pleasure, motivation, fulfillment, so on and so forth. And it must be over 30 minutes. This is what we call your mains. So you write down a bunch of mains. Then we go to appetizers. Appetizers are anything that takes 15 to 30 minutes to do. So this could be meditation. This could be going on a brisk walk. Whatever you want to have in there. 15 to 30 minutes, you toss it in there. Reading a book, so on and so forth. Then we go into our drinks. Our drinks are the things that take upwards to 15 minutes to do. Okay, less than 15 minutes. So this could be hugging your dog, kissing your dog. This could be making some coffee for yourself. This could be cleaning your room. Anything that provides you with a little bit of sense of accomplishment that takes less than 15 minutes to do. And again, you create that list. Every single day, I want you moving forward to create a list of appetizers or drinks, what we call drinks, appetizers, mains, and desserts. And the goal is that you don't feel guilty if you don't have everything on the menu. Okay? So imagine going to a restaurant, and because you didn't have every drink on the menu, because you didn't have every appetizer on the menu, because you didn't have every main on the menu, and because you didn't have every dessert on the menu, you go, I'm a piece of shit, I'm not good enough, yada, yada, yada. But this is what we tend to do with our lives. Because we don't finish everything that we have on our list, and then we overindulge in the desserts, we guilt ourselves, we shame ourselves, which would be absolutely fucking ludicrous if you were to do this at a restaurant. So we have to do the same thing. This is where the mindset shift and perspective comes into play. You have your drinks. You might have one or two drinks. Okay, you might hug your dog and you might clean your room. And you start your day with that, with a quick under 15-minute dopamine boost. Then we go into our appetizers. You might have one or two appetizers. You might meditate and go on a brisk walk. Or you might read and spend 10 minutes with your significant other. Okay? Whatever the two is that you choose off of the menu. Now, you might choose the same thing off the menu every single day. Or you might say, you know what, today I feel something different. I don't feel like meditating. I want to read and I want to go on a brisk walk. Okay, and you get to choose which ones you want. This is where the variety comes into play, and it gives you a new sense of dopamine boost. So you might choose two appetizers. Then you go to the main. You might choose one main or two mains max. Okay, you're not going to try to get everything off the main menu. We want focus here. So you might do a deep work hour and you might hit the gym. Boom, your mains are done. Then we move on to the dessert. Okay? With dessert, this is where the conscious decision and choice comes into play. You might have one dessert, you might have two desserts. You might say, you know what, I feel like watching Netflix and eating ice cream, or I feel like smoking weed and watching Netflix. But you don't give yourself more. You don't overindulge and get every single dessert off the menu. You allow yourself to enjoy, but it's not an overindulgence. And this way, you don't feel that sense of guilt and shame behind the dopamine, and you get your dopamine needs met. Okay? This is how to do a proper dopamine detox. So let me do a quick review. Number 1, do a complete cleanse, 24 to 72 hours, meditation, water, journaling. Number 2, do the walk of pain. Okay, after you're done, fill up your bags with rocks, go over how the lies have brought consequences, what you don't want, what you will not tolerate, what you do want, and then what your values, vision, standards, boundaries, and goals are going to be for the next 90, 30, 14, and 7 days. Then 7 days of no social media. Remove all social media, replace it with a new thing every single day, and have a reporting system that you can be held accountable to. And number 4, have a daily dopamine menu with drinks, appetizers, mains, and desserts. And don't feel guilty if you don't have more than 2 every single day. This is the shit that they don't teach you. If you commit yourself to this, you're going to reset your dopamine system. It's going to be healthy. And you're also going to be able to enjoy all the fruits of your labor and life in general. Okay? If you like this, go down below. I've left a link to my Facebook group. I got tons of resources, how to increase motivation, discipline, time management, get more sales, make more money, become healthier. There's so many resources. I'm just putting it all out. It's for free. Go and view it. And if you like this video, make sure to click that subscribe button, comment down below what else you want me to talk about, and we will talk soon. Take care.